All right, here we go. Salute to NBA Nation on this Wednesday afternoon, man. Another edition of the NBA Report. CP the Franchise here with you guys, man. Alex Shataros on the other side. The new look, Alex, on the other side. And on today's episode, man, free agency is just 2 days away. We are going to first and foremost preview the Lakers offseason, man, with our guy Alex Hollingsworth, the creator of the Lakers Central podcast. Also, there's a lot of NBA free agency news and rumors going around the league. We are going to get you up to speed and react to everything. Plus, our top 10 free agents list continues. On Monday, we did our guards and wings. Today, we will do our free agent bigs as we get you ready for our big free agency show on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, man. So lock in, hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button for you boys, hit that share button, and let's get it going, man. Another edition of the NBA Report. The new look Alex, man. Look Alex, bro. You left the beard gang, bro.
It's only temporary.
Come on,
only
man.
Temporary.
I mean, come on, bro.
It's coming back, man. It's coming back. All right, it will come back. Look, I haven't seen my face in like 5 years, bro. Haven't seen it in legitimately 5 years. I took the bar exam, shaved it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna grow the beard for the next 5 years. I was like, you know what? Let's switch it up for a bit. Shock the entire listener nation out there.
Shock the world, man.
Who is this guy?
Shock the world, man. What the wife say about it, man? That's most important.
She didn't know who it was when she came home. She's like, whoa.
Oh, man.
Although I did not like the compliment. She was like, now you look your age because the beard makes you look younger. I was like, I don't know if I should be happy about that.
Yeah.
Or if I should be a little upset.
Yeah, no, understandable, man. Well, hey, we'll see. We'll see how things go. Somebody, JJP in the chat says, "Who kidnapped Alex?" White Lotus is Alex's younger brother.
Jalen, our very own Jalen Martin, not the Knicks Jalen Martin.
Yeah,
he's like, who's that new guy on the right?
Yeah, shout out to Jalen, man, holding us down over there in the West Coast. Anyway. Shout out to our guy, Alex Hollingsworth, man, the creator of Lakers Central. We've done a lot of collaborations with Alex, man, over the years. Great guy. Great content over there at Lakers Central. Make sure you guys follow them at Lakers Central 365. Alex, welcome back, man. How you feeling, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm looking forward to free agency in less than 48 hours.
Yeah. Well, before we get to free agency, once upon a time in the last NBA season, this Laker team was looking at 13th in the West. They were, scrambling, trying to find themselves. The Brody experiment was, as expected, not working. And then all of a sudden, Rob Pelinka is able to pull some rabbits out of a hat. He's able to get D'Lo. He's able to get Vanderbilt, Beasley for some depth. He goes out and trades 100 second-round picks and gets Rui Hachimura from the Washington Wizards. And ultimately, they make a run to the Western Conference Finals, man. How did you reflect on this Lakers season and how it all wrapped up?
I mean, look, Lakers fans judge success by championships, so as do I. But you look at where we came from, like you said, the 13th seed all the way to the Western Conference Finals. How can you not be excited about that? And honestly, I just think it goes to show if you put decent role players around LeBron and Anthony Davis, they can make a run. But sometimes you just run into a guy who it's his time. And it was Jokic's time this past season. That happens, every other year or so. But I'm happy about the way things ended.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be. I mean, look, even though they got swept by the Nuggets, look, I thought the Lakers were in it. They were in it in every game. Yeah. A lot of it just came down to late game execution. Obviously, the Nuggets were the better team, but the revelations that was Austin Reaves having a major season, becoming a de facto third scorer. And they're even in some games, I was like, man, they need to get the ball to Reaves some more because of how efficient and dynamic he was out there. Rui's revelation, coming back from a lackluster rookie and sophomore campaign with the Wizards and really coming into his own, even after taking a year off. Due to the mental health issues, he really bounced back strong. So they were definitely some highlights there, man.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, one of the things with Austin, I think up until this most recent season, Lakers fans knew he was good. Now, a lot of other fan bases think we overvalue our guys, right? But he was really good, but I think he was trying to figure out when to be aggressive, when not to be. You play with LeBron and AD, you kind of got to fall in line. But this season, particularly in the playoffs, he realized, I can play. You know what I'm saying? And we needed a third guy. Unfortunately, D'Lo had his struggles in the Western Conference Finals, so we really needed a third guy to step up. And then I know you guys know this, but with Rui, having a dude that can hit a mid-range jumper in the playoffs, like for all of the analytics that say shoot threes and get to the basket, mid-range is king in the playoffs, man. So he's able to do that and then step out and hit the three as consistently as he did in the playoffs. 6'9", like 240. I got to bring them both back.
Yeah.
So when you
No
look
question.
at
Get up.
when you look at what the Lakers did this season, are you running it back with the same squad? Because it was much different prior to the trade deadline. I mean, the Lakers did a lot of work. Obviously, you got Rui. Reaves became big towards the mid to the latter half of the season. You get off of Westbrook. You bring back Dennis Schroeder. Is this the team that you should be rolling back with this upcoming season?
Yeah, run it back. Make marginal tweaks around the edges. LeBron's been in LA 5 years, man, and every year they basically blown the team up, and that's LeBron, right? Did the same thing in Cleveland. He just blow the team up every year. But at his age now, like we need to have some stability on that court. So bring back the guys if you can get them at reasonable numbers. Bring back Austin Reaves at all costs. Bring back Rui at all costs. Get D'Angelo at the right price. I think they're able to do that because he didn't play well in the Western Conference Finals. And then I like Dennis. Get him at the right number again. Maybe Lonnie. I'm not so sure, but it depends on the number. But then go out there and get one of these other free agents that, not a max guy, but can add some depth to the bench. And I think we'll be okay.
So who in free agency are you looking for then for the Lakers to add?
The two names that I would like for them to go after first, call Brook Lopez and see. I know it's been Mark Stein reported he's meaning to go back to Milwaukee, but he used to be in LA. Give him a call. See if he, just see. Look, of all the available centers, Brook has played next to Giannis, so I know he can play next to AD. And you have Brook, even at he's like 33 or something like that, even at his advanced age, he's still a hell of a defensive player. Put that next. We saw what AD did in the playoffs. I mean, defensively, he's on another planet. Those two guys together allowed AD to roam. I'd go after him first. And then I'd see how much of a discount Bruce Brown's willing to give Denver. I mean, he hasn't made a lot of money. And I'm always the guy that says players need to get all the money they can. Like, you can take a pay cut when you're LeBron. You can't take a pay cut when you're Bruce Brown. So let's just see how much Denver's really willing to pay him. And if he's out there and available, I'd give him the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, $12 million. Saw what he did to us. Shit, get him. I don't know if I can curse. My bad, fellas.
But, right, man, go ahead.
But those are the two guys at the top of my list.
Yeah.
How reasonable it is to get either one, especially Brook, I don't know. But I'd at least place a phone call.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Once again, we're talking to our guy, Alex Hollingsworth, the creator of the Lakers Central podcast. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for your boys. I want to get to this Rob Pelinka quote from his press conference yesterday. Lakers introducing their draft picks, and he talked about the team's direction going into the season. I want to listen to it and react to it. This is Rob Pelinka, courtesy of Kobe Price from the SoCal News Group. It's Rob Pelinka.
Yeah, I think, we're at the doorstep of free agency, and we've been pretty clear since our last game with the success of making it to the Western Conference Finals. We want to try our hardest to keep this core of guys together and also improve around the edges and on the margins to not only get back to where we were last year, but hopefully take the next step, get into the NBA Finals. I think, the league is full of young players that can surprise even in the playoffs. The team that beat us, Denver, had a guy they drafted last year that was in their rotation. So I don't want to put a limit on what either of these guys here could do for Coach Ham and the team. I think they're going to start with the foundation of work, and if they earn minutes in our rotation, that's because they put in the work to do it. But I do think guys can be impactful in this league, even young players.
Now, tell me what you, and that was Rob Pelinka, Lakers general manager, but tell me what you think about this, Alex, because I feel like that's why it was so important to see Reaves and Hachimura be able to play the way that they did in the postseason, because if the Lakers were still stuck with Westbrook and went through the whole season, likely not making the playoffs with him, maybe Pelinka changes course. But with Reaves and Hachimura kind of establishing themselves as players that you could really build it with as a young core, it allows them to build around the margins and say, hey, you know, look, this is still going to go through LeBron and AD until they're done. But why sacrifice these guys for another quote-unquote big three all-in move when you not only have the second apron there, but the chances of that succeeding, as we've seen from past experiments, not likely. So now they have two guys that they can really add to this young core, see how far they can get to, and then once LeBron and AD are finished, they're not just scrambling trying to figure out what's next. They can kind of tack on to what they have and see if they can keep it going with these younger guys.
No, that's a smart thing to do. I mean, I think LeBron retires next season, after this one. I think he gets his full retirement tour and all that kind of stuff like Kobe did. But the good thing about Reaves and Rui, when LeBron retires, AD will be in his early 30s. Those guys can still play with AD. So to your point, why sacrifice all of these young guys who aren't that young? They're in the mid-20s. Reaves is like 25. Like, why sacrifice them for maybe another year or two of LeBron for a superstar who, like you said, man, like the whole big three model, in my opinion, and at least the last, decade or so, it's only worked in Miami and Golden State. And so when you sacrifice your depth for a third star, that third star, one, better be healthy, and two, better fit like a glove. The Westbrook situation was terrible, and there's a lot of blame to go around. LeBron and AD wanted him. They deserve blame. Russ wanted to come to LA. He deserves blame. Rob Pelinka signed off on it. He deserves blame. There's plenty of blame to go around, but it didn't work. And so now it's like, people are still saying, well, maybe they should call Kyrie and see if he's interested Kyrie's a damn good player, man, but he could say something crazy and then he gets suspended. He missed his time also. Like, at this point in LeBron's career, he's not the Iron Man that he used to be. So I think you need more stability around him. And I think having a 9-man rotation that can get through an 82-season grind versus a 3-star with a bunch of minimums, that's not the way to go. And so do I think that the Lakers could have beat Denver if they had a full 82-game slate with these guys? No, I think it was just Jokic's time.
Yeah.
But we saw with just 2 months of them playing together, like how good they really became. So run it back. And, let's just see what this team can do with a couple marginal pieces. And you never know, man. Maybe during the season, another, not max level guy, but another guy hits the block, right? And maybe you're able to make a trade for that dude. But run it back.
And do you see with these young guys that the Lakers just drafted, do you see them getting a good amount of playing time to add to that youth?
Yeah, I think that's Rob Pelinka's plan. He drafted size, and shout out to Phil Jackson. I think Knicks fans don't like Phil, but certainly Lakers fans have a lot of respect for Phil and what he did with Kobe and Shaq. But like the big guards, man, JHS, Maxwell Lewis, they're 6'5", 6'7", like they're bigger dudes. I'm always a little bullish on rookies. I don't think many rookies are ready to play at all. But you never know, man. Like, give them some spot minutes throughout the season. Give them some time to develop. Send them out to the G League. Bring them back up. There are blowout games where you need to rest LeBron and AD. Like, maybe these guys do play. The Lakers have a wonderful track record of finding gems in late rounds, whether it's Austin, Kuz, like these guys that aren't, top of the draft level talent. These guys go on to get max deals. So I trust Jesse and Joey Buss, head of our scouting in G League. I think these guys can probably play, but we'll see. Rookies hit a wall. Like, you come out of college, you play 30 or 40 games. Now you got to play 82 games plus the playoffs. That wall is brutal. And we saw that wall with Austin a year ago, where like his legs were gone, his shooting wasn't there anymore. But this year he took that leap. So we'll see. But I think they can play a little bit.
Once again, we're talking to Alex Hollingsworth, the creator of Lakers Central Podcast. We are previewing the Lakers offseason, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. We are talking Lakers free agency. Now, Alex, I want to get your thoughts and predictions on a couple of these moves. One of the moves that the Lakers have to make is they have to decide on an extension for Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis can sign an extension for 3 years and a max of $167.6 million starting August 4th and prior to the first day of the regular season. Davis would be required to opt in to his early termination option, giving him a total contract of 5 years, $251.4 million that would run through the 27-28 season, his age 34 campaign. Man, what do you think about the AD extension and where that stands?
It might make sense for both parties. You know, AD has had some injuries. He may want to just lock up his money. I mean, the Lakers can't possibly let him just walk out the door. Yeah, I mean, that would be insane. So even at age 34, you know, like look at Brook Lopez, man. I mean, he's not AD level talent, but he's still able to play at a really high level. So I'm keeping AD in a Lakers jersey. Worst come to worst, if things get really, really bad, you can trade him and just maybe you get cents on the dollar, but you can still get some assets back. Or maybe at 34, you let him walk out the door. But if LeBron retires and AD's not on your roster, I mean, what are we? I don't know what. I mean, we're terrible. I know that much, right? But so at that point, you just have Austin and Rui. Nah, if you can extend AD at the right number, max him out, and he's willing to do it, I think you do it.
Interesting indeed, man. Another comment that came across here, and shout out to our guy Alan Hahn, covers the Knicks for MSG Networks, but also covers the NBA on ESPN. I want to get your thoughts on Hahn's comments on Anthony Davis because I thought it was pretty interesting. Here's Alan Hahn. This is courtesy of Get Up.
In 18 one night, and then we're all just like, well, you can't expect that in game 2. Why the hell not? First of all, you hear that extension? That's $55 million a year. You're 30 years old, $55 million a year on a guy that we're just going to make excuses. Well, you can't expect this every night. I remember those conversations we had during the series. Well, you know, Anthony Davis, what can we expect from him tonight? I'm expecting 30 and 18 every night because you are that talented of a player. But are you in the right kind of condition that you need to be in over 30 that allows you to be that every single night? That's how you become the true franchise player and take that torch from LeBron James. They've got to make this decision in August, as Wendy just said, and that makes me really nervous. Because if I'm the Lakers, how do I know that I give him the extension and it's going to be more of the same from Anthony Davis down the road? When we get to April and May and he's already broken down and he can't play every game or he can't give you big performances in the playoffs night after night.
What do you think about that? You know, there's been some criticism on AD. Does he want it? Does he still want it? Is his conditioning? Yes, the knick-knack injuries all year. Can he make it to April? Can he be that guy? You know, Hahn says he wants 30 and 18 from AD every night. What do you think about that?
I mean, AD averaged like 27 and 15 against Jokic. 27 and 15. Like, are people insane? Like, I don't know. I don't know what people want from him, man. Like, so one of the reasons AD gets dinged up is because he's flying all over the court defensively. He steps on somebody's foot or somebody bumps into his knee and he's got to miss time. I think that even at 30, the Lakers expect too much from him defensively. He can do everything. But again, like with Giannis, give him a secondary big out there that can take some of the pressure off of him and maybe put some defensive guards out there that can stop penetration. Maybe AD's body holds up a little bit more. He bulked up to play center. Lakers fans wanted him to play center. And, you know, I think by bulking up, it took away from some of his explosiveness. Certainly his three-point shot hasn't been what it was since the bubble. But, like, what do people want out of him when he's putting up those kind of numbers and historic defensive numbers? I think he had a fine series. I think, look, game 1 against Jokic, he had 40. I think game 2, he might have had 18. I recognize from a points perspective, there's up and down to it. But, like, if the only dude better than you in the playoffs is Jokic, you know, from only other big, I think you're in good shape. I remember, and I know you guys probably remember this, like when Shaq went up against Hakeem in the finals, and Hakeem cooked the Magic. I think he averaged like 40 and like 15. Shaq averaged like 30 and 10 in that series. Like sometimes the other dude just happens to be better than you this year. So, nah, you don't let AD walk out the door. I think from any superstar, hopefully you get 60 to 70 games out of them. 82 games. This isn't the 90s. It's a different day. If I can get 65 games out of AD, 60 games out of LeBron, Lakers will be back in the Western Conference Finals and maybe in the championship again.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think for Anthony Davis, like he's such an impactful player when he's healthy. Definitely like top 5, top 10 guys in the league. So you traded for him, you keep him. He's still young. I consider him now a core of what the Lakers want to do now and in the future. But when you're looking at Anthony Davis, it's just like you got to go back to the other players, right? I see CP mentioned staying younger because after LeBron leaves, you're going to have to cater to Anthony Davis and making sure that there's a supporting cast around him. So let me ask you about Austin Reaves, man. Like, how much of a priority is this guy? Is he the third guy on this team? Because you see around Twitter, it's jokingly or whether some are being serious that he's that third option now because you had D'Angelo Russell on this team. So how big is Austin Reaves moving forward the Lakers' plans?
No, he's massive. They're not letting him walk out the door. I don't care what any other team offers him, a poison pill contract. They are not letting him walk out the door. He's that good. And, he's good with LeBron and AD. He'll be good with AD when LeBron retires. And so I think it's important to keep your own guys. You brought him up through your system. He's been very good. He's probably been better than anyone expected. You do not let him walk out the door because who do you replace him with? I mean, who do you replace him with if he walks out the door? So no, Austin's the third guy right now. He's a hell of a player, man. But you keep him. He's a priority. He's number one priority this offseason.
What makes him so good?
Like, it's crazy, man. So, like, you guys see him drawing fouls and all. He does the James Harden thing and that people roast Harden for. But, like, Austin's really good at playing with, like, tempo. He knows how to get into the paint. He knows how to finish in the paint. He's crafty. He can shoot. He plays defense. I think when he joined this team, he decided I'm going to get better at the little things. And he did. And then all of a sudden he got better at the bigger things. And there's talks of him being the Lakers' primary point guard this year. He might be. I think that they should still bring back D'Lo and play both of them. I think they can play together. But like, he's really, really good. And he also doesn't need the spotlight. Like, he knows whose team it is. It's LeBron and AD's team. He's not a guy who you hear about. He's trying to get paid from another team and he wants more shots. No, Austin is just like, he's the perfect guy right now for those two dudes.
Yeah. He's a bridge, man. He's the perfect bridge. And I talked about his numbers. 94th percentile in regular season in effective field goal percentage at 62.3. 80% at the rim in the 97th percentile. Mid-range assassin, 51% in all mid-range at 93rd percentile and 41% from three, man. Kid's a dog, man. Absolute must sign. And if he does get an offer out there, Lakers have to match it, man. No question about it. No question.
They're going to.
Yeah.
There are fans that think that Genie is cheap. Genie's not cheap. And I'm in my office. I'm a financial advisor. It's hard to explain to people, like, yes, the Lakers are worth, as a franchise, are worth $6 billion. But all six bus kids aren't worth $6 billion. They're not James Dolan, right? There's not like one dude that can just do all this shit and has all this money from non-basketball activities.
Yeah.
The Lakers are that family's bread and butter. So they spend as much as anybody based on their family structure and how the team is set up. But they're not letting him walk out the door.
They made a decision on Vanderbilt. They picked up his team option at $4.6 million. I love the pickup when they got him. I like him as a versatile defender. Can guard multiple positions from 3 to 5, obviously. But his minutes did taper off, especially as it got into the conference finals. What do you think happened there in terms of Vanderbilt and why the Lakers really didn't utilize him that much down the stretch?
One, he couldn't shoot. So, Denver was just laying completely off of him. And so that's why Rui ended up starting. But not only that, Vando has a lot of utility, but I also think it depends on who the other team's best or second best player is. So, you had him chasing around Steph, perfect. You had him chasing around Ja, perfect. But Murray was just this year couldn't put him on Murray because then Murray didn't have to guard him, right? But I think that during the regular season, we've seen Vando have success against guys like Brandon Ingram and other big wing guys. I think you need a guy at $4 million. I think his option was $4 million. Like, that's a no-brainer. 6'9", versatile. Hopefully he can develop more of a jump shot. But even if he can't, just to have a versatile defender help get you through the regular season and then be at least situational in the playoffs at $4 million, I'm bringing him back, and I'm glad that they are.
Yeah, no question about it, man. And just last question for you. It's been a wild offseason so far, man. We've seen CP3 get traded twice. Well, on the CP3 thing, did you were you interested in CP3 to the Lakers if they would have gotten him?
I mean, if they would have bought him out, yeah. I mean, on a vet min, aside from that, I don't know if he would have taken that anyway. But like, Chris Paul breaks down every year in the playoffs like clockwork. And so with the Lakers team that already has injury concerns, you certainly can't give him too much money because now you're in trouble again in the playoffs. But the right price, yeah, I mean, he can command the offense. Why not? I think he'll be good in Golden State. But yeah, I'm glad the Lakers didn't try and trade for him. A $30 million contract for Chris Paul at this point. Hey man, let Joe Lacob and those guys pay that bill. That's one I'm glad Jeannie didn't decide to get involved with.
And where do you think Dame ends up, man?
You know what? I'm thinking Miami, but he just needs to get out of Portland. Like, he wants to be loyal to the franchise. The franchise wants to be loyal to him. Dame is 33? And I think both Dame and Portland are going to be in a situation like the Wizards were with Bradley Beal this summer. They should have traded Bradley Beal like 2 years ago, and they waited too long, and then they got basically nothing for him. And so Dame's got to make a decision. Either you stay in Portland, and maybe you probably never win anything, but you're the greatest Portland Trailblazer of all time, or maybe you go to Miami, and that's enough to get them another ring. And I don't know where that puts him at in terms of all-time rankings and all of that, but like, it just depends on what's important to him, I guess. But I think at this point, there's enough smoke that both he and Portland seem to be willing to entertain potential offers and go somewhere else.
Yeah, no.
You want him in New York?
No. Not for the cost. Not for the cost. I love Dame. One of my favorite players in the league, no question about it. But I just don't see how he helps move the needle. I think the Knicks need bigger. They need size.
Yeah.
Wing is where I'm looking at, and starts there. But with Brunson here, I don't see how Dame would fit or make sense in the long term based on what Portland would want. You're going to have to give them a whole haul, right? They got to reset with Dame. I think that's the biggest trade out there on the market. I don't see the Knicks being players in that one.
And on top of that, like I agree with what CP said, but you just saw what Jalen Brunson did in the playoffs. I mean, closeout against Miami, drops 41 points. He's 25 on the up. Wide trade for, like, the Knicks don't have to be a win now team. And like, I get that you're trying to take advantage of Brunson, Randall, and RJ all on their good contracts, but making a move for Dame, that means you have to accelerate what you want to do and win now. And I don't think it's wise for the Knicks just to blow everything up to go for Dame. And for anyone thinking like a Dame and Brunson backcourt, I just don't see how that works with two small guards. Defensively, they're deficient. So like, it just doesn't make sense for the Knicks to go after Dame. There was a time to do that, but that window has passed.
Yeah. Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
No, I'm with you guys, man. I mean, I think you guys had a great team this year. And so I think for any team, whether it's you guys or our team, it's like, hell, some other superstar has an injury, and all of a sudden maybe you find yourself in the conference finals or finals, right? Like, I understand why Miami may go after Dame. I can see him certainly getting them back to the finals if he teams up with Butler, but like, to have to basically gut your team to get a 33-year-old superstar, I mean, nah, it's not for me. I do know, I heard, I don't know if this is true, but I did hear that 2 years ago, LeBron reached out to him prior to the Russell Westbrook trade to see if Dame would force his way to LA, and he did not want to at that point. So even now, even if the Lakers somehow, sign and trade D'Lo and all this stuff to make the salaries work, I don't know, man. That three-star team, it scares me a bit. Even Dame would be a phenomenal fit with LeBron and AD, but boy, does it just one of them goes down and it's like, you have 9 other vet minimums? It just doesn't work.
Yeah. True story, man. Well, listen, man, we definitely appreciate the time. Always appreciate the collabs, and we'll certainly look to do another one later in the season. Let the people know where they could find you, and if you have any upcoming content that you want to make the people aware of.
Yeah, man, y'all can always check me out on Twitter at Lakers Central 365. Same on IG. Free agency's 48 hours away, so you'll probably see me on there pumping some content out. But yeah, check me out on Twitter, Lakers Central 365.
All right, man. Alex, definitely appreciate the time, man.
No doubt, man. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
Have a good one, Alex.
So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. That was our guy, Alex Hollingsworth of the Lakers Central podcast, man. CP, the franchise, Alex Charles on the ones and twos. The NBA report, live and direct, man. Salute to Mr. TD in the chat. He says, Alex knows my Lakers, man. Salute to him. Yeah, man. Listen, we bring you guys quality content, quality guests, people in the know, people that know what they're talking about. So shout out to our guy, Alex, man. Absolutely. Absolutely. And shout out to the new Alex, man. You ditched the beard gang.
It's coming back, CP. Relax. It's coming back.
People used to say, man, you looked alike a little bit. They used to call you Vanilla CP, man. Now I think that got to your head a little bit, man.
Nah, it didn't get to my head. It didn't get to
you. You wanted to establish your own identity. I get it, man. I get it.
Look, CP, sometimes you gotta you gotta just clean it off, man. Sometimes with extension, you gotta be like, I need a new beard for a second. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So gonna grow in the new beard. It'll be back before you know it. People can call me CP White. I see that people in the chat are confused as to who is the new guy on the right. Don't worry, it's the same old Alex. Nothing's changed. Although some of you said I went from CP White to Quentin Grimes, that's news to me.
Yes, absolutely, people. Keep them coming. I love it. I love it, man. Jay for PR said you look like Rick Fox.
Rick Fox. Okay.
Oh, man. I love it, man. I love the jokes. Salute to everybody. Hope everybody's enjoy their Wednesday. Go ahead, bro.
Shout out to Lash. He didn't know who it was. And Gamba said my face is butt naked. Let's see. There was a good one in here. Oh, Alex looks like he's ready to play some beer pong. Yeah, bro. Let's go do this.
Some natty lights, right? Get some natty lights,
Give me the natty lights and the Bud Lights, bro. Yeah,
bro. I wasn't a big beer. If I played a beer pong, bro, I had to be in a controlled environment. I can't go to a bar and play beer pong and let the ball hit the floor with everybody stepping all over the floor. You get hair and DNA all over it, and all you're doing is dunking it in a cup of water. Nah, man. I was never the beer pong guy. I would do it like in at the crib or somebody's house where you could properly sanitize. But nah, not in nobody's dive bar playing in a beer pong tournament. Nah, I'm good, man.
My man, depending on the college, I don't think you want to play that even in the controlled environment that you're talking about, because depending on the person's controlled environment,
True.
It might just be worse.
It might be
than
worse.
That bar.
That's facts. That is absolute facts, man. Once again, man, salute to everybody in the chat. We just talked about the Lakers off-season, Lakers free agency prospects with our guy Alex Hollingsworth of Lakers Central. Now let's get to around the league, man. Obviously, the Dame news is dominating the headlines. Where will Dame go? What's he thinking these days? Like, shout out to my guy, our guy Rob Perez, Worldwide Wob. He said he came out with a tweet yesterday. He was like, man, it's been a minute since we heard how Dame is feeling. I wonder if everything is okay. Because that's just how, the news wire is kind of treating things with Dame. It's just like, as the world turns, as I said on Monday. And so on Monday, Dame and his manager and his agent, Aaron Goodwin, met with Portland Trailblazers general manager Joe Cronin to discuss the direction of the franchise. Mm-hmm. Joe Cronin came out with his PR cookie cutter statement. Everything's cool. We're committed to building a championship with Dame. Then there were reports that say, well, Dame is going to wait and see how the Portland Trailblazers offseason looks before he makes a move. Now, according to Jake Fisher, Yahoo Sports, Blazers were resistant to trade number 3 pick Scoot Henderson for any return outside of packages that would have netted a select group of second stars to pair with Lillard. Even after dangling the number 23 pick in the draft, Portland stood pat, took Chris Murray, brother of Keegan Murray. So, as he says here, Portland looks like they're going to be patient. They're in no haste to trade Dame. Now, as far as how the offseason looks, I just don't see it, man. If they're not trading Scoot Henderson, you know, what is the offseason move to you that they can do that would entice Dame Lillard to stay, where you could say that's a top 3 team in the West?
Ooh, that's tough, man, because
What do you guys think of the check? Good.
I think for like the Trailblazers, like we've seen historically, it's just been tough to keep star players around there. I think the best chance that they would have had is if they were able to keep LaMarcus Aldridge back in the day, man. You have him, CJ, you know. That was probably like their best chance to have like a really good core right there to really compete. But right now, unless you're trading for someone like Zion, maybe a Brandon Ingram, if you can go get him from the Pelicans, make it a little bit more competitive. I just don't see how many options that players will want to go to Portland. I mean, you also got to figure out how are they going to pay for Jeremy Grant? Like that's another thing. Like if Jeremy Grant leaves, I don't see how you can even entice Dame to stay. So Portland's got to first look at bringing back Jeremy Grant. You got to then think about what trade is out there. And I just don't see, like, we know about the Zion things for Portland. I don't know what other teams is looking to break up their team. I know there's been like the Paul George conversation that's been out there. But then once again, do you want to, for Dame, you know, it all, when we talk about health, Paul George, is that the guy you want to go hitch a wagon to? So is Damian Lillard, PG-13, and a Nurkic and Jeremy Grant the ticket to get you to the Western Conference Finals to have a chance? I don't know, but I think it's very difficult for the Trailblazers right now, which is why everything that they've done, whether it's hiring Mike Schmitz from ESPN, right, a draft expert, whether it's drafting Scoot Henderson, you're taking Chris Murray, you know, you have Anthony Simons, you have Shadon Sharp, like everything that just screams rebuild over at that team. I don't know what the next move would be for Portland right now, just to say, hey, Dame, we're going to now trade most of our young guys and ruin what we have for the future to really compete with you while you're getting close to the tail end of your career. If anything, I think Portland, if they're looking as an organization, should look to rebuild, retool, and find their new star from who they draft. I just don't see what you're going to get out of Dame Lillard if he's going to be injured and on the tail end of his career. Still a great player. But I think if he really wants to have a chance to compete, he's going to have to leave Portland and go join a team that's more established, which is why you hear conversations of the Miami Heat. You know, I don't even necessarily think if he goes to Brooklyn, it's that big of a jump. I think he's going into a similar situation that he's out in Portland. But for Dame, if he does want to compete, I think it's leaving Portland at this point rather than just sticking around.
Yeah, good point, man. And speaking of the Miami Heat, Jake Fisher in his article says the most consistent rumbling around the league isn't even about Portland necessarily, but the Miami Heat's patience for Lillard to actually seek a new destination prior to the season. But before that bridge is crossed, if Lillard never truly wavers in his commitment, the Heat have their own wonky accounting to navigate this summer. They've got to figure out how they improve around Butler and Adebayo, especially since, it looks like Oladipo did exercise his $8.75 million player option. You also have Kyle Lowry, who's on a big bag. What will they do with Kyle Lowry there? So Max Strus, they got to make free agent decisions on Max Strus, Gabe Vincent as well. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. But according to Fisher, he says, appears Max Strus is headed out of South Beach and on the open market.
Makes sense.
Several teams around the league are Strus suitors, including Detroit, which we figured, Indiana, Orlando. Then you have teams with the mid-level, Knicks, Cleveland. Cleveland needs some bench help for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So Strus is definitely there. You have Vincent. Caleb Martin, they got to make a decision on. So I think overall, the Dame, it's going to be interesting. Like, could the Dame trade or potential trade, it's almost like the KD trade last year. Like, could that speculation potentially hold up free agent moves and other trades until a decision is done? And is Portland in any haste? According to Fisher, they're not really in any haste.
So tough, man. Because I could see a Dame trade holding up the rest of the league. Like, where is he going to go? But at the same time, how much of a game changer does it change for the future of some teams, right?
Yeah.
Like, who's really feeling the pressure to compete if Dame is traded? Maybe the Knicks. Maybe just because you look at the age and like you look at the age of the players that you have, the contracts that you have. Is it the Celtics? You just got KP, still a relatively young team. Even with KP on there, you still got Tatum and Brown, who are mid-20s, so they can compete for a while. Does it change Cleveland's trajectory? Maybe you say, hey, we want to really cash in right now because we don't know if Donovan Mitchell's going to be around after his contract with Cleveland. I mean, you even got Garland news right now that according to Sam Amick of The Athletic, they're listening to offers for Garland.
Yeah.
So I think for Miami, it would be like, because you have Dame for, I have to look at Dame's contract, but for other teams, if he did come to the East, is he going to shake up the East so much that you want to give up 2-3 years that he may have left to go all in? Depends on the age of the roster. But I think between those teams, even like the Knicks, you don't have to do anything drastic right now. But at the same time, I have to look at everyone's books, see what the contracts are, who can you keep. But I wouldn't expect it to really shake up that much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
do you think a Dame trade will hold up everything and it will cause the entire league to just stop and say, hey, we're stopping all things right now? Because it's one thing if it was like Kevin Durant, that is that really stops like a league saying, where is KD going? Because if KD's going to compete and they got a deep team, now we got to figure out things because our windows change, right? Do you see something like that in the East? Like this, if Dame stays in the West, does it really change that much? He's been there, unless he goes to like a team like the Lakers.
I think given the fact that it only seems to be, we know Miami's interest. I'm not so sure. Do we know for sure if Brooklyn is even interested? Or is that fans pushing him to Brooklyn because he said he would want to play alongside Mikal Bridges? But if it's just a two-team race, I'm not necessarily sure he'll hold things up. Like, the Nets can still go out there and re-sign Cam Johnson, match his deal. And if a trade comes about later in the season or at the deadline where they do get Dame, you can still put him in there and potentially match those salaries. Then with Miami, according to Jake Fisher, whether or not they get Dame, like, you could try to use that Lowry salary in a trade, but you can also use Duncan Robinson's salary in a trade. So it looks like Lowry's going to be gone, whether it's trade or they just cut him based on the cap implications. With Jeremy Grant, I would have to think that Portland will wait and see what Dame is doing before they go in on a Grant move. Like, I don't necessarily think, like, could Grant potentially go somewhere else? Yes, but obviously he can make the most money with Portland, right? He's looking for $30 million. So definitely interesting, man. Definitely interesting.
Absolutely. And just to clarify, it's Sam Amico, senior NBA writer of hoopswire.com, that reported the Darius Garland trades. Or that Cleveland is open to Darius Garland trade. So
open traded him. Yeah, would they trade him? I said this on Twitter. I don't think that they would trade him. But just like any other general manager, you got to do your due diligence, kick the tires, see what's up. But for me, I just feel like there's no way Spider Mitchell is staying there. He's got 2 years left on his deal. Would you really try to trade Darius Garland to upgrade the team when chances are Donovan Mitchell's not sticking around, right? Of the two players, unless Garland's unhappy in something that we don't know about, but of the two players, I would have to think it's a Mitchell that they try to trade to the Knicks, right? Because what other team is going to try to go in on Donovan Mitchell right now with 2 years and a player option when all signs points to him wanting to play for the Knicks, man? I just don't see it.
I don't know why I'd even want to trade. Darius Garland was like that beacon of hope.
Yeah.
Before Donovan Mitchell got there. You talk about homegrown talent. He showed up more than Donovan Mitchell did in the playoffs for Cleveland. I don't know why you'd want to move Garland. I agree with you where it's like you look at Donovan Mitchell to see if he wants to upgrade, because look, even now he's back in New York, right? He's doing stuff with Fanatics. Meek Mill was there and so forth. So maybe that's the guy you look to move. But what Cleveland's got right now, I mean, you had three guys who were impressive before Donovan Mitchell got there, and you have three guys who seem like they want to make that home. You're unsure about Donovan Mitchell. I mean, if anything, I try to keep that group together, considering that Mobley's still on a rookie contract.
Yeah.
Like, I try to figure out how do you keep that together and just add more ancillary pieces, because for them, they needed Donovan Mitchell to step up, and they needed depth. Those are two things that team needed in order to really compete in the playoffs. So unless you're getting an upgrade over Garland, I like what Garland brings for the Cavs. I wouldn't, if I were them, I would not make a move to move him. I'd make sure to keep him.
True indeed, man. Let's get to the phones. Area code 212. What's your name? Where are you calling in from? Hello. 212. Going once. Hello. This guy sounds like he's on a T-Mobile service, man.
It sounded like he was right there, like something was going to happen, and then nothing happened.
Yeah, man. What a letdown, man. What a letdown. Los Knicks. The link for the sketch for the wanted beard guy in Boston is in the description.
Oh man, everyone's been roasting me today.
Oh, man, it's been classic. I love it, man. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, man.
I told you before the show started, I'm like, I am ready to get roasted today.
Yeah.
Well, I got Alex is looking like a NYPD officer. I got Alex is ready to make me a chopped cheese. Bodega Alex.
Oh, gotta love it, man. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. Also, in Jake Fisher's article, he wrote 2 articles on free agency. Talked about Zach Lavine. Zach Lavine, obviously, he thinks that he holds a higher trade value for an above return than what Washington got for Bradley Beal. Obviously, there were many factors in that. Lavine being a younger player, no trade clause for Bradley Beal, highly limited his trade prospects. Now, he mentioned the Knicks. Knicks fans, listen up. He said maybe the Knicks will kick the tires again on a serious Lavine overture this summer, but New York has so far drawn atypical praise from around the NBA for the Knicks' recent patient-building approach. Dallas was also seen as one of Lavine's most ardent suitors last offseason before he re-signed with Chicago, but the Mavericks since went on to acquire Irving as a second banana to Luka Doncic. Rapid fire on the Knicks section of this thing. What do you think?
Man, I'm looking at it right now just to make sure I got everything right.
Yep.
For, from what you can tell from that, Chicago still holds Lavine highly, as it says, more than what Bradley Beal got on the trade market. I could see, because it doesn't have a no trade clause. But outside of, I think there were Laker rumors for Zach Lavine. I think there were. Don't quote me on that. I think I saw that flying around just because of the Clutch relationship with the Los Angeles Lakers and Zach Lavine being with Clutch. I don't know who was in a rush to sign Zach Lavine. I don't know outside of that. So I get that the Knicks would want someone like Zach Lavine. He'd fit well on the team and just add some shooting that the team desperately needs. But this is what the CBA is doing right now in his contract. The Knicks could be patient and they don't have to be desperate to go get Zach Lavine, and Chicago can continue to hold on to a roster that is not going to be that competitive as we saw this season. I mean, with that Lonzo Ball, as we heard from our guy Corey Telba, who really made that team run, it's looking downhill for the Bulls. So they can wait. I mean, they also have to do something unless they can. Well, let me put it this way.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to trade Zach Lavine unless they can get a haul to recoup the draft picks that they traded for Vucevic.
Yep.
If they can't do that, they're not moving Lavine, because to them, they rather have someone that brings rather have a play that brings someone to the seats to go watch, be entertaining, rather than throw out a roster, as we've seen with the Knicks in the past, right?
Yep.
Where you have someone like a Luke Cornett, where you have who is it? Moutier out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a Ron Baker.
Moutier.
You don't want to see, like, no one's trying to go see a roster like that for Chicago, right? They're a big market city. So they're going to keep names like DeRozan and Lavine until they can figure out how they can get some draft capital back and figure out how to move this thing moving forward, because you got to sell the fans on something.
Yeah, true story, man. Look, for the Knicks, as you noted, they have been patient. They've been patient since this regime started. Do they wait a little bit and re-engage the Bulls? You never want to operate from a position of weakness, right? You don't want to be desperate for the guy, because the market is going to be high. You're going to have to pair off some draft picks, a young talent. So do they re-engage later on in the offseason once things pan out? How does Chicago retool their offseason? They can't let Vucevic just walk out the door after the big investment that they made to get him. They're going to have to see that through. Do they bring back DeRozan? Do they trade DeRozan on that expiring deal? Do they re-sign him? So there's going to be questions there. And then you're looking at Lavine's big contract. So Chicago has a lot of questions to answer in terms of how they're going to build their team out with the salary cap in mind, with the apron in mind, and can they actually build a contender? And who knows? We'll see. I think the Knicks are involved. I think they are involved. How desperate are they for him? That's anyone's guess, but I think they are keeping tabs on the Lavine situation. And we'll see what happens. Like I said, man, I also think they're leaving the light on for Spider as well. That's why I don't think that they'll be as desperate.
They don't have to be desperate.
Right.
They don't have to be desperate at all. The team is so young. I mean, the question is, do the Knicks want to make a move right now? And shout out to our guy, John Schmelk, who had a great thread on talk about taking the opportunity with guys on good contracts, trying to add talent in here, right? Do the Knicks want to do that? The Knicks, I think, alternatively, if the Knicks decide you can't take that window of opportunity with three guys on good deals, that being Brunson, Randall, RJ, the next alternative is when their contracts are up, or when two of the three are up, you can choose which one you want to resign and then go back to the draft, go get a younger player, find somebody in free agency. There's those type of alternatives as well, but the Knicks don't have to be that desperate, nor why should they be desperate to give up all of their assets, young guys, to go get a player who may or may not. It's not a guarantee, right? It's not like you're getting LeBron James in his prime. It's not like you're getting Kevin Durant in his prime. You're hoping that these guys can be contributors to put you in that championship contention. But so far, what we've seen, and that's what's been part of the negotiation process, I'm sure of it. It's like, why do we have to give up so much in assets for a guy who has not taken a team past the first round, and someone like Zach Lavine? Why do we have to give up so much in assets to go get someone like Donovan Mitchell, who has been a second round max appearance, right?
Yeah.
He's good, but he hasn't taken you to where you need to go. Otherwise, Utah would have kept him around, but like, we can still be competitive. So I think the Knicks are using those chips and saying, what's the actual value here? And there's got to be a reset from what we saw last season, where everyone was just going crazy with draft picks because of the Rudy Gobert trade.
One thing I will say, I said this on Twitter yesterday, And Jake Fisher of Yahoo has stated that all signs are pointing to Dante DiVincenzo signing with the Knicks. He opted out of his $4.6 million player option with the Warriors. With their cap situation, that was expected. They weren't expected to bring him back and give him a raise. Obviously, you have the Nova connection. All of that is well stated and ad nauseum. He's most likely going to come to the Knicks. But the bottom line is, I think his acquisition, although it creates a logjam at the guard spot, it also provides him flexibility where do they trade him in a couple years? Is it quickly that gets traded? Is it RJ? Is it Grimes? Right? We might not like to hear those names being gone as individuals, but in a broader package, you can probably stomach a trade and still knowing that you still have a guy like a DiVincenzo coming off your bench, providing you with some depth and some experience, some playmaking, some three-point shooting, so on and so forth. I think that's why I can stomach an acquisition like that, even though it's not exactly what we need in the short term, in the near term.
Yeah, I mean, what we've seen throughout the league is that you need a top tier wing if you don't have an elite talent somewhere else, right? And look, unless you have someone like Steph Curry, where it's like, okay, we don't have although flanking him is arguably the next best shooter that we've ever seen in Klay Thompson,
Yeah.
that definitely helps, right? And having a defensive savant in Draymond Green certainly helps. Or you look at Jokic playing the center position and how just transcendent he is. I think you need a wing. You need someone on the perimeter who can help you. Even when you watch Golden State, Andrew Wiggins had a really good playoff series. You just see how important that position is. Someone who can attack, shoot, rebound, all those things. And that's one of the most versatile positions on the court. Getting DiVincenzo, as you said, it's not a move where like you can get it for the future. It's not necessarily the now. And I think that is what that move is telling me, is that it's not for it's telling me that there's something coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
They're prepared for something that happened down the pipeline, and they're getting the pieces ready because they're going to have to move somebody like RJ, like quickly. And as much as we don't like to hear that, right? Because we do like to see our homegrown talent stay, develop, be part of that, hopefully be part of, the going down the Heroes of Canyons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Canyon of Heroes, the Canyon Heroes. And you want to see that, but it's just tough because the NBA moves differently. You just need to figure out how to wheel and deal and to create that team.
It's almost as if, like, when you're looking at the mid-level exception and you're looking at who's out there, the candidates who are out there for that money, who you have a chance to get, you almost go in the best player available rather than fit and need, right? Like, who is the 3-and-D wing out there that you can get for the mid-level? Is it, Craig, who's most likely going to Phoenix anyway?
Phoenix can't let him go.
They can't let him go. They cannot afford to let that guy go.
They can't afford for anyone to leave that team. Right. They have to just go all in with everybody that they have.
Right. Is it, you want to go TJ Warren on a vet minimum? Maybe he goes back to Phoenix, right? Like, I'm just saying, like, at the mid-level, the list is just, it's not great. So
it's a trade, man. It's a trade that's going to have to happen.
It's a piece that, yes, can help your team. We'll figure out the minutes later, but also can help in terms of keeping you flexible if you have to make a move, right? Because the biggest concern is making a move and gutting your depth and not having something there. Maybe you get him and maybe he's part of a trade next year. Again, maybe it's Grimes, maybe it's Quick, maybe it's Deuce, maybe it's RJ. Who knows? But I think there's more upside to the deal where you can figure it out how it works later on.
Yeah, it's definitely something coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
It's just tough, man. It's tough because you want to see, there's that anxiousness, right? Like, as a fan base, like, what's the next move? What's the next move? Everyone else is making moves. How come we're not making moves? Like I said, this probably will be something that we'll see by the trade deadline from this team.
Yeah.
That's when I think The NBA landscape changes before the season starts and middle through the season. Look at the Lakers. Perfect example. They had Westbrook. The whole thing was like, let's make him the sixth man, have him come off the bench. That wasn't working. Completely reshaped the roster. Goes to the Western Conference Finals. Look at the Knicks. I think the Knicks were they were on the edge. They were on the fringe of like they could either been a play-in team, a playoff team. Josh Hart really added that depth and piece value where, now you can solidify to be the fifth seed with obviously the help of the Brooklyn Nets tearing down that roster, right? And look at that. That was a team that was just cleaning everyone's clocks. They were on a roll. But then injuries happen and then Kyrie issues and that team reshaped. So it's now trade deadline. We'll start to see the league settle out. And that's where I think the Knicks are going to be prepared to make a move.
Yeah. A couple other rapid fire news and rumors. Looks like Kyle Kuzma has some suitors in the Kings. Remember when Kings gave up Rashawn Holmes during the draft, they were able to free up enough salary to potentially offer Kuzma a deal. He's looking for upwards of $30 million. So Kuz to the Kings has some legs as they look to upgrade at the wing over Harrison Barnes. That would be a nice young piece that you could put with Fox and Sabonis. I still think they need to upgrade it defensively and they need some big man help. But I think Kuz would be a nice piece for the Kings. What do you think?
I think so too. Offensively, I think he could fit into that system. I still think they need a center, man. I think Sabonis, as good as he is, his facilitating is awesome. I think you just need a center, man, because at the end of the day, someone's gonna have to stop. We just saw the Warriors were able to win for a bad road team. We're able to win on the road in Sacktown. So I still think this, and I look at the center position because I think you need height. I think you need defensive versatility out there. That's not to say Sabonis is like a horrible defender, but I just think you need a little bit more height defensively, just because I don't think he's not Jokic level of transcendent where he's going to put you over the top. And, if you say, oh, we're going to worry about Jokic's defense, it's like, well, he's elite in so many other categories that it doesn't really matter if he's just okay on defense. I think Sabonis is very good, but I don't think he's that transcendent where he's going to put you over the top.
Yeah. Now, Jake also says that Sacramento going after Chris Middleton has been a popular theory floated by the league figures, but all signs point to Milwaukee and Middleton finalizing a new agreement once free agency begins on Friday. Like I told you, man, I think that is an absolute must for the Bucks to continue with their championship window. You have to bring Middleton back, injury risk and all that aside. They have no other options. This is the cost of doing business, and this is the cost of trying to maintain your championship window. You're going to have to do that, and I think they will. Anything else on that before we move forward?
Nope, I think you covered it.
Now, he's saying, this is, we're salute to everybody in the chat. We'll real quick reset. NBA Report, CP the Franchise, Alex Rotaro's here. We are just going through the latest NBA free agency news and rumors. Our free agency show, big free agency show on Friday at 6 p.m., man. Tap in with us there. Special guest Tommy Beer will be joining us, and we'll recap and react to every single pick. Every single signing, rather, that is announced come the 6 p.m. deadline. Woj and Shams already have the announcements ready in the drafts. Now, in Jake Fisher's article, shout out to Jake Fisher, Yahoo Sports, he mentions Fred VanVleet to the Rockets is continued to gain legs. Raptors are not out of it, but according to Jake, he says Houston is prepared to offer VanVleet a very competitive deal, while all those whispers about James Harden return have noticeably decreased in recent weeks. Now, this was my prediction when we did our top 10 guards. If it's not Houston, if it's not Raptors, I think Houston is VanVleet. And I would like that. I would like that move for the Rockets, man. I like that move. I think it is going to be Houston for FVV. Your thoughts, real quick.
Yeah, makes sense. New team, get the money. Go. He has the whole tweet. Bet on yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can get paid now. Look, they just signed in for Gary Trent Jr. You got OG Anunoby. Raptors are trying to retool and figure things out. As we've talked with other content creators and people who cover the team, Vision 6-9 is what they like over there. They also got to worry about re-signing Jakob Poeltl. So there's not a lot of money to go around. I could see Fred VanVleet leaving and going to the Rockets.
Now, he also says, look, Rockets are still in on Brook Lopez, man, as their primary big man option. And look, as you talked about, KJ Martin could potentially be traded because there is a glut there. Maybe the Knicks make a call, who knows? But he says the Rockets have held an increasing number of trade calls on Martin with several teams since the NBA draft. Atlanta, Phoenix, Brooklyn have been mentioned as KJ Martin suitors back to the February trade deadline. So very interesting young piece, son of Kmart. Where will he go? On the Lopez front, I think it'll be a good move for the Rockets based on his skill set as a two-way big, can space the floor, allow their primary ball handlers, high usage players to operate inside the paint. But you got a very good prospect in an Alperen Sengun who has shown some flashes. His passing ability has been pretty noticeable. I remember watching him in Summer League straight through the season. He's got some promise. Brook Lopez ain't coming here to develop players for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not coming here to bring a guy under his wing. He's coming here to play and get the bag, but he's also coming to play. So, Interesting. Like, I can see the VanVleet one being somebody who can try to help make this team better, a champion, can help get the young guys in order, brings some maturity, professionalism to the game. But Brook Lopez, what do you do with Sengun? You bring Lopez in.
Yeah, Lopez is playing 30 minutes. He's playing 25 to 30 minutes, somewhere around there. I would still work with Sengun, man. I think he's good. I think the issue with the Rockets, man, is where you could get that veteran presence from. Because outside of Fred VanVleet, it can't just be one voice, right? You need a few voices in the room. I mean, look, we covered the Knicks. We saw you had Taj Gibson, Derrick Rose. It's a few other guys that you need too. I mean, you had Reggie that same season when they made a push. You had three guys who were really leaders in a room full of young guys who needed some guidance. And I think the same thing goes for the Rockets. So I'm trying to look up Rockets depth chart right now just to see who else is on that team if I'm missing any veterans. Because look, we saw Eric Gordon said he wanted to get out of there. I'm looking at this team and I just you got Boban, but I don't know how much Boban is of a locker room presence. This is just tough, man. There's such a young roster.
Yeah.
So I get wanting Brook Lopez. You have someone like Brook Lopez and Fred VanVleet, two guys, won championships, those two guys would command a lot of respect in the locker room. There's no nonsense if you get both of those guys. No doubt about it.
Yeah. Totally in agreement there. Good.
But Sengun just showed so much last year as a passer for a big man.
Mm-hmm.
He can help you truly, with Fred VanVleet just being a playmaker. I don't know why you'd want to put that on the bench.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree with you there. On the Bruce Brown front, he lists Minnesota as a potential suitor for Bruce Brown if the Timberwolves waive Taurean Prince and his non-guaranteed $7.5 million salary, because that would allow Minnesota to have the full non-taxpayer mid-level exemption, which would be about $12 million, which is more than the $7.8 million max that Denver can give Bruce Brown this offseason because they do not have his full bird rights. So Bruce Brown is either going to take that 7.8, give them a deal, and then get blessed when they have his bird rights for the next offseason, or he's going to get that full mid-level $12 million with another team. Maybe it's the Timberwolves. Ian Begley said that if the Knicks don't get DiVincenzo, Bruce Brown could be on their radar. Remember, me and you talked about Bruce Brown on Knicks Weekly. Again, another piece where it's kind of log-jammy, but can definitely help and gives you some roster flexibility going forward. We'll have to see what happens with Bruce Brown, man. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Al, let's quickly run through our top 10 free agent bigs. Well, overall for the centers, it's not a big center class. Like we did talk about Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez. I said Bruce Lopez. We did talk about Brook Lopez, but overall lackluster for the centers. But you do have some interesting power forwards, caliber players, and we're going to talk about that. And let's run through these. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Okay, here's the list. Top 10 bigs. You got Brook Lopez, Jeremy Grant, Draymond Green, Kuzma, Vucevic, Pirtle, Harrison Barnes, Christian Wood, Rui, and PJ Washington. We talked about Brook Lopez. Does he take a big bag just to go to the Rockets, or does he take a longer-term bag to go with Milwaukee? What's your prediction there?
I think you go back for Brook Lopez.
Yeah.
Just go back to the Bucks, man. I think you want to compete. I get wanting the bag, but go back to the Bucks.
Jay from PR says, Alex looks like Brook Lopez. There's another one. Okay. Jeremy Grant. He's looking for 30 bags. Is it Portland or is it elsewhere? I have a hard time calling this one. Could be Portland. It still could be Portland, though.
I think this will be the domino that tells you if Dame's staying or not. If Jeremy Grant does not re-sign, Dame's gonna be out of there. I could see Portland doing that. Once again, who's the next guy that come through? That's my question. I don't know where else Jeremy Grant would have a suitor to make $30 million.
Yeah.
I don't even see the Rockets even doing an idea like that because you got Jabari out there and he needs to get minutes.
True indeed, man. Draymond, I mean, you have the Sacramento rumors with Mike Brown. I don't see it. They're saying that Dame wants the Blazers to sign Draymond Green to do what exactly? Draymond Green is staying with the Golden State Warriors, man. There's no chance that
they just got rid of Jordan Poole.
They just got rid of Jordan Poole. Problem solved. They got CP3. Draymond is like, I don't see anything else making sense, man. Draymond, he already said he wants to go out. He came in with Steph and Clay, so to speak. He wants to go out with Steph and Clay. And I don't see that changing anytime soon, man. Draymond's staying with the Warriors, bro. Kuzma, we talked about Kuzma's got options. Could it be Detroit? Could it be Sacramento? Kuzma's got options, and we'll have to see what happens on Friday. What's your prediction for Kuz?
I think Sacramento would be it. I can see Sacramento being the move for him.
Vucevic, I think this is Bulls. I think Vucevic is Bulls, man.
You can't let him go.
You can't
if you're the Bulls.
Yeah.
You can't. You just traded.
He's got him by the balls. You got to pay the guy now.
You just traded all those assets for him, and now you're going to say, yeah, man, it's okay. You walk. And then you're really going to, if that happens, there's no way you're going to tell me you have leverage then, like a lot of leverage to make a Zach Lavine trade.
Right. Jakob Poeltl, I think he stays with the Raptors. The original pick of the Raptors goes to the Spurs in the Kawhi Leonard deal, then gets traded back to the Raptors. I think Ujiri keeps him there. He's a good center, man. He's developing a good career for himself. Good defender. And somebody that the Raptors really needed, and they were able to get him at the trade deadline. I have to think that they keep him there and continue to push forward with Siakam and OG and Trent Jr. maybe for VanVleet. I think Jakob Poeltl stays with the Raptors. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I spoke to William Wu when I did the Raptors Knicks Game of the Week preview for Knicks Fan TV.
Yep.
For any of you new viewers who do not know about that channel, make sure to go over there and subscribe. But talked about with William Wu, he said they really need a center. I think they keep him. I get the whole wanting everyone to be 6'9", but you still need a center in this league.
Yep.
So I think he stays.
I agree. Harrison Barnes has talked that the Pacers are interested. Look, I thought he had did a pretty decent job with the Kings.
Yep.
You know, Harrison Barnes right now will be just a journeyman veteran that can, help plug a few holes for teams, but for other teams like the Kings, you look to make an upgrade there for some better talent. But overall, Harrison Barnes has certainly carved out a good career for himself. Christian Wood, there's no telling. Dallas obviously retooled by getting Derek Lively from in the draft. Now, there's still talks that they're trying to reopen that window to get Ayton over there in Dallas. But either way, it looks like Christian Wood. I don't know what the free agent prospects are for Christian Wood, but we'll have to wait and see, man.
Yeah, and talking with our guy Bibbs when I also did the game of the week preview for Knicks versus the Dallas Mavericks. He was very confused on the utilization of Christian Wood based on Jason Kidd's coaching. So not sure if Christian Wood himself would be happy to go back to Dallas after how he felt, how he should have been utilized. So it'll be interesting to see where Christian Wood goes this free agency.
Yeah, no question about it. And then we did talk about Rui. I think it's a Lakers move for Rui.
Yep.
Who was able to bounce back strong. So let's see what happens there. PJ Washington, not clear what his prospects are. He's probably, a late free agency decision by any team, but he's got to get the bag. He owes a lot in child support, man. He's got to get the bag. So whoever, picks up PJ, make sure to take care of him, man.
Yeah. And just quick honorable mentions, Grant Williams, not sure what the Celtics do there.
Yeah.
Mason Plumlee, decent center. Jalen McDaniels, another power forward who is on the Philadelphia 76ers. If you want a 3-and-D, mostly a defensive guy at the power forward position. Those are some names out there as well that teams would probably be looking at.
Yeah, Plumlee did well for the Clippers, man. Plumlee did very well for the Clippers. Hey, maybe he's an option for the Lakers, to give them some depth, give them some big man help. I thought he played well for the Clippers, man. And man, remember people, Friday 6 p.m. free agency show. CP Alex, Tommy Beer in the building. This thing is cooking, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. We are also finalizing our Summer League plans, man. So if you guys are planning to be down there in Vegas, make sure you guys pull up on us. Leave us a comment in the comment section. Hit us up on Twitter, on Instagram. Let us know if you guys are going to be in the building, because we would love to meet with as many fans as possible, man. So make sure you guys do that. We also have some studio time booked in Vegas, so I'll keep you guys posted on that as well. But great show, Al. Once again, thank you to our guy Alex Hollingsworth of the Lakers Central podcast. We broke down the Lakers free agency options for the 2023 offseason and where they will go from here. An overall great show. And with CP and the new Alex. We'll just call him the new Alex, man. Hashtag
temporary, bro. Just temporary.
New Alex.
Oh, brother. It's temporary, my man. Temporary. Yeah. The beard will probably be back within a week.
Yeah.
All right. There's already stubble growing in. You can't even see it. You can see this. You can start to see the 5 o'clock shadow. So thank you to everyone who was roasting me today.
Yeah.
Yes. Working the halal cart. working the bodega. I do many jobs, apparently, CP. Many looks, many jobs.
That's it. Hey, that's it, man. That is it. Shout out to Alex, man. Shout out to the team. And we out of here, man. Another good one in the books. I just take my screenshots for social media, man. Don't mind that sound effect. It's just my screenshot taken for evidence purposes as we leak this thing. And we make it go viral. We're about to tweet this out right now. Everybody in the chat, throw some more nicknames for Alex in here, man. Let's see some more nicknames, man.
Oh, hold on. Oh my God. Go into the Slack right now and go get what Gambit just dropped in there.
Hang on. Let me take a look. Hang on. The new Alex. Hashtag new Alex.
Gamba's out here getting images of Kronk from the Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, hang on. Where is that? Oh, was it your Slack or mine?
It's check the KFTV squad chat.
Okay. Hang on. KFTV squad. There we go. Where am I at? I'm all over the place. Okay, here we go. Hang on. I gotta refresh like many messages. All right. Yeah.
You're saying I can run a pizza shop. Okay.
All right. There we go. Wait. Hang on, bro. Hang on, man. Just don't move.
Okay.
There you go, man. Perfect, bro. Perfect. Oh, man. Gotta have a laugh, man. Anyway, people, Enjoy the day. Remember that the show's available in audio podcast format, man. No reason to miss it. Catch us on all the major podcast platforms, man. CP and the new Alex. Great show. Another edition of the